Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. We have an update coming in a week and it will bring an overhaul to Legendary Crafting. So what I'll do is an overview of the new Legendary Crafting system, and then I'll talk about what I'm doing to prepare for it. So going forward, you will have an option when it comes to disposing of a legendary item. You will still be able to put it into a script machine and you will get the same return as before. So now with a legendary item, you actually have the option to scrap it at a workbench. And it can be any workbench. You scrap it the same way you scrap a regular armor or regular weapon piece or junk. And when you do that, you will get, let's see, we've got a 3-star Juggernaut's board here. So one of the things you'll get back a tiny bit of legendary script. It's only 4. It's 4 legendary script for a 3-star item. It's 2 for a 2-star item. And it's 1 for a 1-star item. Doesn't matter if it's a weapon, an armor, power armor. The return is the same as far as the legendary script goes. But when you do that, you also have a chance to get a couple of things. First of all, you have a chance to get a loose mod. So any of the effects on this, so we've got Juggernaut's weapon speed and +3 strength. So I could get any or all of those as a loose mod. And yes, you can get more than one mod box from scrapping a legendary item. The chances are very, very small and it may never happen for you, but the chance does exist. You also have a chance to learn one of the mods as well as a crafting plan. And the way that works is you can only learn one. So once it'll try it'll try the mods that you don't know. And if it's successful in unlocking that plan, then it stops. So you can't learn more than one mod per scrap. Now, an important note about unlocking legendary mod plans. Those are actually lumped in with all the other scrap to learn plans. So for example, I have a character here that doesn't know, if I go to the workbench here, so I have an Aristocrat's heavy combat right arm with radiation resistance and weapon rate reduction. If I were to scrap that, I do have a chance to learn any of those mods, but I also have a chance to learn other scrap to learn mods. So for example, this character, you could see the mods unlocked on this is 1 out of 16, which means there are 15 mods I don't know. So one of the things you can do is you can go into the crafting bench, like you're going to mod the item. And if you see the toggle unlockable there down at the bottom of the screen on the right, it will actually tell you all of the mods available on that weapon, or, well, I shouldn't say weapon, on that legendary item. So weapon, armor, power armor, but it will tell you all of the mods available, and it will actually tell you the source. So under the requires on the right, it'll say scrap, which means you have to scrap combat armor pieces in order for a chance to learn that mod. And if we look at Deep Pocketed, it's a plan. And so mods will always be they'll be one or the other. They'll either be scrap to learn or you need a plan to learn the mod. There's not a situation where it's both. So what you're concerned with are the scrap to learn mods, because those are going to be lumped into the pool of things you can learn along with the legendary effects. So for example, if this character were to scrap this item, now I'm on a live server just to show you this, so I don't have that option to scrap it. But if I were to scrap this when the new system comes into place, yes, I have a chance to learn legendary mods, but I could learn brawling or braced or aerodynamic. Those are all mods I could learn. So you want to, if you have an item like this, say you have this situation and there are effects you want to learn, your best bet would be to scrap a bunch of combat armor pieces in this case to try and unlock those regular mods before you scrap a legendary version. Otherwise, you could end up just wasting, scrapping a good legendary, a good set of legendary effects, because these other ones will just dilute your chances in this case, it would dilute my chances by a lot of learning one of the legendary effects. So here I have some legendary mods. These are ones I got from scrapping items. And if you look at the mod, if you inspect it, it will actually tell you on the bottom what it applies to. So I have an anti-armor mod and it can only go on weapons. I have an Aristocrats mod, which actually can go on weapons, armor, or power armor. And the rule on that is that an effect to go on multiple things, it has to have the same star. So Aristocrats is a 1-star effect, which means for weapons, it's a 1-star effect, and for armor, it's a 1-star effect, which means if I have an Aristocrats mod, I can apply it to anything. Okay, so I have this Juggernaut's board, and suppose I wanted to apply, I have two mods that I can apply. I have anti-armor or Aristocrats. If I were to apply one of those, you could see the cost is 10 legendary script. So it's pretty cheap. But the way it works is it actually goes up. So I'm gonna go apply one. Let's apply the anti-armor mod just to do that. So that's 10 legendary script. Now, if I were to change that, the price is now 15. So every time you apply another legendary mod, and it doesn't matter which star in terms of applying the mod, every time you apply a legendary mod to an item, the price will go up a little bit, and it caps out at 1,000. I don't know I think it's 20 mods you have to apply. So you want to be a little bit, consider that a little bit when you're applying things, because if you do that every time, the cost will go up. And now that we have modified this board, we've put a custom mod on it, it can no longer be traded. So that is something to be aware of. If you have an item that maybe is tradable currently and it's really good, but you want to make it just a tiny bit better with a custom mod, once you do that, it becomes locked to that character. You can't move it to another player. You can't even move it to another character on the same account. So that is something that you always want to keep in mind when it comes to custom legendary mods. And then I have this 3rd star mod Defenders. You can see it still costs 15, even though it's a 3rd star. Now, a note on that. So I have this 1-star board. It is a Ghoul Slayers. I have no option I cannot do a custom 2nd or 3rd star. So before a mod can be applied to, a custom mod can be applied to an item, it basically has to replace an existing star. So if I have a 1-star item, I cannot put a custom 2nd or 3rd star on that item, but there is a solution to that as well. So under add legendary mods, what you can do is you can actually roll a random, in this case it's a 1-star item already. So I could add a random 2nd star and it would cost me 10 legendary modules, but it would leave the 1st star alone. So that way, if I have like a 1-star that I want to build on, I can do that without disrupting what that 1-star item is. And I could add a 2nd and 3rd star for 15 modules. So I could turn a 1-star into a 3-star. And the cost is always going to be the same for that 2nd star. So you definitely don't want to add a 2nd and then add a 3rd, because that'll cost you 25 legendary modules to a 1-star item. And if I just do a random 3-star, it's going to add that 2nd and 3rd star automatically. And it's only going to cost me 15. So you want to be aware of that. You don't want to do the stars one at a time. You want to just, max it out. So let's go ahead and do this random 3-star. We'll turn this 1-star into a 3-star. And now what do I have? I still have my Ghoul Slayers effect. It left that alone, but then it added in the power attack damage and Cavalier's effect. And now that I've done that, I could go ahead and slot in this Defenders mod if that was something I wanted to do. But yeah, that's how custom mods work. You actually have to overwrite an existing star. You can't start with a non-legendary weapon and just slot into your custom stars. You have to have the random stars in there first. Now, as far as crafting legendary mods go, that is done at a Tinker's Workbench. And this is where you'll need legendary modules. So you just scroll down to legendary mods. Now, I don't know that many. You can see I only know 3. But to craft and the cost also depends on what star it is. So I have a Vampires, which is a 1-star. That's something I know. To craft that would cost 15 legendary modules. And there's always a secondary cost associated with that. So in this case, it would be 10 blood packs. So you can see a 1st star costs 15 legendary modules plus a secondary. They all take a secondary, ingredient, as it were. And a 3rd star costs 60. I don't have any 2nd star unlocks, but they do cost 30. So it's basically 15, 30, 60. It seems to double, each time. So 3rd star effects are more expensive, and I'm not sure what the reasoning is there, but that's what it is. And you can see in the case of Lightweight, it takes 60 legendary modules and cork, 10 cork. And VATS Optimized takes 60 legendary modules and 10 sugar, which is kind of interesting. All right, let's go ahead and craft a lightweight mod just for fun. So we will I can craft 2 of those. We're going to just craft 1 of those. And once you do that, you will have a loose mod. Right here, here's my lightweight mod. And you can see this only applies to weapons, because on lightweight, it is, the 90% reduced weight. That is a 3rd star on weapons, and weightless on armor is a 1st star effect. So those are different mods and they're not compatible with each other. And if I go to a weapons workbench, you can see there's that lightweight mod I just crafted, and I could apply it to this board if I wanted to for the cost of 10 legendary script. Another thing that's changed is that you no longer have the option to continually re-roll an item with legendary effects. So in the current version of the crafting system, you could roll an item with, make it a 3-star item, just roll it, random 3 stars, and you could just roll that item again and again, just with 3 random effects over and over again. You can't do that anymore. Now you can only do basically one random roll per item. After that, any changes have to be with custom mods. As part of this new system, you can see I did not mention legendary cores because they are no longer used, which is kind of funny that they're actually still showing up as something that I have. But legendary cores are actually going to go away. And when the new season rolls around, any legendary cores that you have will be converted into legendary script on a 1-for-1 basis. Legendary script, you can see on the current live version of the game, the legendary script limit is 6,000. That actually goes up to 11,000 when the new season rolls around. And that's to account for the fact that legendary cores have a cap of 5,000. So all they did was increase the capacity so that when they do that conversion, nobody gets over the script limit. Another change is the cost of legendary modules. They are going from 50 legendary script to 100 legendary script, but also events, daily ops, and expeditions will all drop legendary modules for you. So no more legendary cores. Legendary modules are basically going to drop from everything that you do. The amounts will not be big, but I think if you're a pretty active player, they should accumulate rather quickly. And legendary modules, they have been reclassified as junk, which means they can go in the scrap box, which is a good thing if you have Fallout First. For those that don't, the weight of legendary modules has been reduced from 0.25 to 0.15, so that helps a little bit for those people that don't have Fallout First. And a scrap box has actually been added to the Rusty Pick right here in front of the purveyor, so you can, if you want to buy legendary modules, you could turn around and just dump them in the scrap box. So one of the things to consider is what to do with legendary script. My strategy will be to be as close to maximum script as possible, which will be 6,000 going into the season. And the reason for that is there will be a legendary vendor sale on the 5th, which will be 2 days after the new season starts, where everything will be 25% off, which means you'll be able to buy a guaranteed 3-star armor piece for 45 script, and you'll be able to get a 3-star weapon for 75 script. And spending your script that way is going to be cheaper than any option that you have now. Like if you wanted to convert that into modules, the crafting cost is always going to be higher than if you just hold on to the script and use it at the sale. So that's what I'm going to do with legendary script. So my strategy for legendary modules, first thing, I'm not going to buy any more modules. I want to keep my script and use it for the purveyor sale. But for modules that I already have, my plan is to use either most of them or all of them. And the reason for that is I'm not going to need them right away. We're going to start off not knowing how to craft any legendary mods. And the learn rate for those is actually really small. And we'll get modules from everything we do. We'll get them from daily ops. We'll get them from expeditions and events. So I think by the time I'm ready to actually do any kind of legendary mod crafting, I'll have mods. I will get a lot of modules back and I'll be okay as far as that goes. And also remember that a lot of the mods we get will be box mods. We'll get loose mods and those take legendary script to apply. So not all of the custom crafting will revolve around legendary modules. So I'm going to spend them in a couple of ways. First of all, I'm going to craft Secret Service armor. And the reason for that is it only takes one legendary module. So it's a very efficient use of legendary crafting. Now, you can get a 1-star or a 3-star or a 2-star. But I still think this is a very efficient use of modules to stock up on things to scrap before the next season starts. Now, I'll do this the day before, so I don't have to carry around all this weight. So basically, the day before the update goes live, I'll craft all this stuff. And in this case, my character actually uses Secret Service, so I will craft a variety of pieces. But if all you care about is the effects, a left arm is good. Even if you don't know any Secret Service plans, you can get those from regs. And I think an arm or an arm or a leg, I think it costs 500 gold. So you can just buy one plan. I mean, that's really all you need is a plan for one of the pieces. And that way you can craft it, assuming you have the materials. Obviously, it's more than just the module cost. And one thing to make sure you do, when you craft armor, make sure you have the armor perk equipped. It will not reduce the module cost, but it will definitely reduce the materials cost by quite a bit. So that's a perk you definitely want to have. For Secret Service armor, Super Duper is pointless. Even though it makes it sound like it triggers, it actually doesn't give you anything. So you don't need Super Duper when you're crafting Secret Service armor because it won't help you at all. And for whatever modules I don't use up for crafting Secret Service, I will do Medical Malpractice. This is a weapon. The plan comes from daily ops, and Minerva has it in her inventory from time to time as well. And so it's a revolver, which I don't care about that. I care about the effects though. So for 2 legendary modules, I get a guaranteed 3-star that is medics with plus 50% VATS hit chance and reduced AP cost. And those are all desirable mods. Now, medics will be changing. If you didn't know, that'll be changing with the next season. Instead of being self-healing with VATS critical hits, it'll heal friendlies basically on contact. So it'll act like friendly fire. So you basically shoot friendly NPCs, teammates, and it will heal them, on impact. So that's actually going to be a desirable effect, especially for any kind of support role. And Medical Malpractice actually does work with Super Duper. So you want to make sure you have this. If you have that plan and you want to go this route, you definitely want to have Super Duper equipped And after the season starts, one thing you want to do is verify that things are working before you start scrapping all of your, all of the items that you've saved up. And there's a couple of ways you could do that. Number one, you can communicate with someone who's actually successfully done the scrapping. And if you know someone who's done it and they've had mods drop, they've learned mods, and you know that it's working, sure, go ahead and do that. If you don't have that option, the other option would be to test on a custom world. And that can be done. You don't even need Fallout First for this. Obviously, you can use a Fallout First custom world, and it doesn't really matter. You just import your character into the custom world, and nothing you do on that counts. It doesn't affect the live game at all. So that way, if there is a problem, scrapping all of the gear that you've accumulated, if it doesn't work, you're not out anything. So that would be one way. If you don't have Fallout First, you can just use one of the Fallout worlds that they have going. There's always one running. Again, it doesn't count towards the live version of the game, so you can just load your character into that world, do the scrapping. If it doesn't give you anything, then maybe hold off, and maybe there's a problem. I don't expect there to be, but just in case, you wouldn't want to have all the items you saved up go to waste. Now, there are a couple things I forgot to mention, and they have to do with named legendary items. So, for the Blue Ridge weapons currently in the live version of the games, and the Blue Ridge weapons are things like the Elder's Mark and Holy Fire. You get those from Beasts of Burden and Safe and Sound. The weapons that drop from those events, they can still be modded. At least that's how it is currently on the test server. They said it was a test thing that they're doing, but I haven't heard any word. So my assumption is this will make it to live. So you can still modify things like that. So you can say I have an Elder's Mark. It's already been modded, but I could go ahead and add in another mod to that. So that is something you can do. For something like Anchorage Ace, it can't be modded on live, and it still can't be modded with new legendary effects. So anything other than the Blue Ridge weapons, they basically are how they are. So you can scrap named weapons, but you can't learn the special effect. So I could learn any normal legendary effect that's on it, but as far as that cursed effect where you get extra damage, extra fire rate, stuff like that, those cannot be learned. But the regular legendary effects can be learned from scrapping named legendary items. And there you have it. That's the new legendary crafting system and what I'm planning to do to prepare for it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you join me in the next one. Thank you very much.